Thank you, Neil. I appreciate the opportunity to talk to all of my friends about my favorite topic, data warehouse, data vault, and architecture. Several years back, people began to build these things called data marts, and they were very easy to build. So people started to think that they were building a data warehouse when they were building, in fact, a data mart. And the next thing you know is something interesting happened in the corporation. What happened in the corporation is that because data marts were so easy to build, people began to build a lot of them. And the next thing you know was a corporation would have 3 and 4 and 500 of these things called data marts. And instead of making life easier for people, what happened was these data marts uh, came along and confused people. They have one data mart saying one thing and another data mart saying something else. And in terms of making decisions in the corporation, data marts really didn't add much to the equation. Uh, Adding to that, a while back, I started to have some correspondences with my friend Francesco, and he and I got into some very interesting conversations. And he began to tell me about some ideas that he had, and I thought that they were most interesting ideas. I suggested to Francesco that he should share what he knows with the world. And he says, and how would I do that? And I said, well, you write a book about it. And Francesco said, but Bill, I've never written a book before in my life. And I said, well, now is a good time to start. And so I'm happy to tell you that there is a solution to the challenge and problems given to us by data marts. And there is a book that's coming out. I believe it'll be out in September by Francesco and myself. Actually, it's Francesco's book. I wrote enough in there to get my name on the cover, but it's really Francesco's ideas that make the heart of the book. So I think it's exciting to share with you today the things that Francesco can tell us and add to our industry. So with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Neil.
So thanks for the introduction. Thanks, Bill, for the introduction. Yeah, it's only thanks to you that I'm here sharing these things with you today with everyone. And well, let's kick it off very quickly. So we don't have much time, and these topics can be a bit boring. Now, the good news is that I will try to make them not too much boring, but yeah, the bad news is that I will fail. They will be boring, but yeah, maybe we'll have a bit of fun as well, I hope. So about myself, I'm a consultant in business intelligence since 2001. I've started with business objects, which I loved, and then SQL, and then was working for Teradata. In Teradata, I was rather managing a team, so I saw many projects from high level instead of doing one, digging into the detail. I worked with data warehouses in general. Then I discovered Qlik. I fell in love with Qlik because Qlik is a wonderful tool of business intelligence, and it's amazing for me. And of course, Tableau, it's an industry standard. Why Data Vault? Why am I here talking at the Data Vault meetup today? I'm not part of the Data Vault organization. Let's say that I am friends with the Data Vault community. And how did it happen? It happened because one day I was searching on the internet, something like I wanted to find something new. And there's plenty of new things in technology, but Data Vault for me was fresh air because it was something new in theory. So it was something new in a new discipline, a new way of making things. So Data Vault is not a software that you buy. Data Vault is a system of business intelligence which consists on architecture, methodology, and data model as well. And so it's a theory that you can apply to any technology. Why I liked it so much? Because it captures data in a way that it is unbiased. So it does not interpret data. It captures data as it is. And I love that because I've seen in my life 35 projects and each of them had problems related to the fact that there was an attempt to interpret data, but it was happening too early. So I think I really like about Data Vault is that it captures data as it is, and that's it. And then later there will be the soft requirements, but it captures data as it is. And then there are a few other things that make Data Vault unique. One of them is the integration with big data, with Hadoop, many other things. But talking about now the topic of today, capturing data as it is and interpreting later is the key concept. How did I get in contact with Bill Inmon? Yes, basically, actually, Bill doesn't know this. I found him on LinkedIn, but it all started from Data Vault because the foreword of the book of Data Vault 2.0 is written by him. And I said, oh, wow, Bill Inmon is the guy that was the guy of the books that I was studying when I got started in business intelligence. So he's still active and is, wow, let's look for him. So I wrote to him on LinkedIn, and then I shared with him some ideas. He said, write me, and then I wrote him, and then the story went as he told you. He first encouraged me to write a book, and then he said, let's write it together. So with my name, we can reach more people. So I'm really thankful to Bill for sharing the enthusiasm of using his name to reach more people, and also for the open mind that he had in accepting these funny theories, which, by the way, I spent a week with him in Denver, and we discussed a lot of things about data, and I was staying with him for a week in his house, and we were cooking a risotto and cooking pasta. And I think that I convinced him about my ideas simply because we were eating and drinking very well. That's my theory. All right, so this session will be interactive. So later I will have a question that if you guys want to answer, I will be very happy to have opinions from you. So you can use the chat of Zoom and we can have a dialogue like this. So let's kick it off. What is self-service analytics? Well, it's the capability of retrieving the needed information without the help of an operator. This is, I would say, my definition. Where to put it? Let's just two icons somewhere. Okay, I don't know. So, first of all, I don't know if you guys recognize this screenshot. It's from a movie. Actually, let's do it this way. If you recognize what movie it is, please write it in the chat. Let's see who is the fastest to write it down. So this way we can test if our chat system works fine. Where is this screenshot from? Which movie? Do you know? Anyone? Let's see. Pretty Woman. Damien, thank you, Damien. You didn't win anything, but yeah, you got it. It's Pretty Woman. Why did I mention this? Because when you get into the elevator, actually we are in Data Vault UK, so I should call it lift. When you get into the lift, you press your own button. So that's self-service. And because of this reason, you don't need the help of an operator. And of course, I'm showing this because I would like the business intelligence to do the same. Okay, so let's move forward. So we all know Tableau. And the question is Tableau really self-service? So this is a dashboard that I downloaded from internet. And this is an example of what you can do with Tableau. But are really the business users able to produce this? The answer is clearly no. Tableau reads from a data model like this one. So this is just a small data model. It's AdventureWorks. It's a sample database from Microsoft. It has only 70 tables normally in a project, and I see there are a few friends of mine from Teradata in this call, and there is Kent. There are so many people who are working with giant amounts of data, so it's very common to have hundreds of tables. So how can we expect the business users to put their hands on such a complex structure? This is really complex, and the users don't have the capability of, not even the experienced ones. Let's imagine the ones that are coming from a business background. So I've prepared for you an example based on Northwind, which is an even smaller database. And this database is considered to be particularly small and easy. but is it really so easy? So I had the idea to simulate the creation of a report. I'll try to go fast because, of course, this is something a bit techy, but not too much. Let's imagine a scenario where a business user needs to create these two reports. One is about the order quantity by product category and year, and the other is the shipment freight by shipment company and year. So I have thought to make two demos, two live demos. One will be with business intelligence as it is done normally today, and then I will introduce the unified star schema, which is the topic of the book, and I will try to make you see how easier it's supposed to be. So I have saved this database of Northwind in a folder which is called Northwind Original, and later there will be the Northwind USS, which is the one where I saved the data organized by me. So it's already a bit challenging for a business user. Imagine that a business user needs to do order quantity by product category and year. It's not so obvious. So the business user, in theory, should say order quantity. It comes from which one of these two tables? It comes from order details, because that's where the quantities are. And the quantity is there. And then the business user should say by product category and year. Okay, the product category. So there is a table called categories. And here is the first problem. The business user wouldn't know how to connect the categories of the products to the order details, because category D is not available here. So an experienced business analyst would say, no, you need to connect to products. So you first connect the products by product ID and product ID. And then once you have done that, you are free to include the categories as well. So, and that would be by category ID and category ID. That's already a step that a business user is not able to do. So let's go now to see our report, how to make it. Oh, by the way, we need the year, and the year of the orders is not in the order detail, but it's in the header of the order, because that's where the date is. So we need to connect also the order headers. Okay, now we can go to create our report. So we want the product category and the year. So we go to categories, category name, and then the quantity, and then the order date, which gives me the year. So this is a report. This is the easiest part, but the most difficult part is here. And let me show you also where a business user would get stuck. Let's imagine the second requirement, the shipment freight by shipment company and year. So the shipment company, we don't have that. The freight, we have it, but we need the shipment company. So there is a table called shippers. Fine, I connect it, but Tableau doesn't know how to connect it. So Tableau tries to connect it to order details, which is not the correct way to connect. So you need to put it away, and you need to say, no, shippers, put it away, and let's connect it where it belongs. So we need to connect it here to orders, and not only, but we also need to know how to connect it, because this time the shipper ID is not available. So it is connected by this funny column called shipped via a shipper. Okay, a business user would never guess this. So why am I showing you this? I'm showing you this because I believe this is not self-service. This is too difficult for the business users, and it's not going to work. It is somehow working to some extent, but it's not working the way that we would like to work. So the result is that for a business user, this is already too difficult. But wait a minute, these connections are given. So the way how the tables are connected is given. This is a documentation from Microsoft. It tells us how to connect the tables. So why are we asking the business users to manually build these connections, knowing that they are given? I mean, it's like we are saying, okay, you know what, you have nothing to do during your day, so solve this puzzle. It doesn't work like that. Can we not pre-build the connection for them? Can we not try to help them? Because they are not supposed to do this puzzle, which, by the way, is also a puzzle that is already solved. So I want to tell you one more word about the evolution to the DIY approach, do it yourself. Okay, look at this. This is a chair. 20 years ago, you wanted to buy a chair and it was looking like this. A chair today is looking like this. So you go to a shop and they give you a box and you need to assemble the chair yourself. So this looks a bit inconvenient, but at least this has improved the logistics because you can go to the shop and put the chair into your car easily, or even a table or a wardrobe. And it is reducing the costs, reduces the costs of the shop, and consequently they can make a cheaper price for you. So this is the reason why they went to this direction, the DIY approach. And let me tell you that something similar has happened with data models, like the chair. So a data model 20 years ago was looking like this. This is a universe of business objects. This in particular, I did this one. This is a project I did in Belgium for Levi's. And this is not like the other. These are real pieces of code. So when you click inside this line, there is a piece of SQL code. So it is really like a proper connection. It's like an assembled chair. So the pre-built join was invented by business objects, I believe. And this chair was already assembled. So like you go to a shop and they give you a chair that is ready to use. This is how it was 20 years ago. But today, the leaders of business intelligence, they have moved to the DIY approach as well. So Tableau, Click, Power BI, and most other BI tools, they have taken the approach, okay, go to buy the chair and assemble it yourself. That's how things are today. And here's a question I would like to ask you. So if you can prepare your Zoom chat, why did this happen? How can it be? Because with the chairs of IKEA or whatever vendor it is, we know it is for optimizing logistics. But what are we trying to optimize? Why did it happen? Why do you make a thing more difficult to the end users? There must be a valid reason. Kent says, can those apps get concerned in the connections? Okay, so actually now I will need to read all these chats and it will be interesting. Let me see what I can do. Where is the chat, by the way? I need to, okay, before going to my answer, I need to visualize the chat. So here's the challenge. I can't visualize it to your screen. So I guess you need to read it in your own screen and I will read it in this other. There were things of more value for end users because I've spent time doing a lot of custom requirements. Okay, I like this. Okay, there's a mountain of reasons. I think I'm not technically now able to read them all and comment them all. So I'm gonna continue and I'm gonna share my opinion about this, the way how I interpret this. I interpreted that the way to connect the tables following the classic approach which has existed until now is actually not unique. Different questions need slightly different ways to connect the tables. So you may want to do a left join, a right join, aggregation to confirm granularities, a nested select statement. So there's many ways actually to connect the tables. So I propose a solution to change the approach. I know this is like, yeah, it's a big thing. I'm trying at least. And I think it works because I've done it for a few clients and it's actually working quite well. So the unified star schema, I call it USS approach. In this approach, all the tables are connected to a central table, and this table is called the bridge. Yeah, actually, Bill Inmon is, he doesn't like this name. He says that the name of this table should be the Puppini Bridge, which I'm fine with that, but you know, already Puppini is a funny name, so I don't imagine. Marcella Puppini agrees, whatever. I imagine that in a serious business meeting, people are saying, yeah, let's use the Puppini Bridge, and everybody would be laughing. I don't like that, but okay, we'll see. I call it bridge, and then we will see how it works. So in this approach, the way to connect the tables is actually unique now. And this is independent from the business requirements. And this is a big statement. I understand that. And you're free to not believe me. And I'm sure that you will prove me partially wrong, or you will prove me wrong. But yeah, we need to work on this. Actually, I will need your help, because in 6 projects I've implemented it. And with one schema, I was satisfying all 100% of the business requirements, even before having them. So I first built the schema, and then I collected the requirements, and I implemented them on the schema which was already built. So I see it as independent from that. So the Uber link in Data Vault. Yeah, we will need to talk about that. So the special requirements, of course, will still need transformations, but I believe that a good 80% of the requirement will be satisfied by the unified star schema. So you build it before you answer the question, before actually you know the question. And either I'm crazy, or if this works, it's really nice. So it's not going to take much longer than this, and then I'll do second demo. So I think we are doing well with the time. Why did I go for a bridge? The perspective list requirements. Yes, I will need to read all these comments with more time. Why did I go for a bridge? Because imagine a telephone network. Imagine that you have a village with 6 houses, right? And so if you lay a cable for each possible connection, that wouldn't make any sense. So of course, in a village, you don't do, these are 15 cables. You don't do that. So a switchboard is better. So each house will connect to a switchboard, right? And the switchboard will handle all the possible connections. So this is exactly the logic that the bridge table or the Puppini bridge is following. Okay, so we have a switchboard, and the question is, do we still need an operator? No, we don't need an operator. We don't want an operator to connect to cables, but we need to find an easy way to build the connections. So an easy way of DIY approach, do it yourself, but easily, not as we have seen in the first demo. So one of the last slides, try to remember in the 90s, at some point, the manufacturers of computers started to build computers this way, and I loved it because they solved the problem with the colors. They said, okay, you buy a new computer, and probably you need to connect the mouse to your computer, and these 2 ports, for example, they are identical. So you should see that little icon, but probably the computer is in a dark corner. So they went with the colors. So you take a mouse in your hands, the plug of the mouse is green, so you go to the hole which is green. And this was as simple as brilliant. So the colors were helping us to make the correct connections. And there was no need of technical understanding of what is behind. You don't care. You need to connect the mouse. You put the green with the green. That's all. So the unified star schema approach, instead of using the color, is doing something very similar. It's using the naming convention. So if you have a table called A, a table called B, C, D, there will be always in the table a column called underscore key underscore A, underscore key underscore A. So the same name on both sides, and same here. So this is a little bit like the mouse, green with green, the keyboard, violet with violet. So that's child-proof. You take a child, you say, okay, connect, make all the connections. The child will be able to do it. So the end users will simply connect these columns this way, and they will not need to understand the technology behind. They only get what they need. They say, today I need the products, the sales, whatever, and they connect it, and then they use it. So basically, I I think this could be the IKEA of the data modeling. It's DIY, you do it yourself, but let's face it, IKEA is not rocket science. So this is the thing that I'm aiming. I'm trying to do something similar to IKEA with data modeling. So we are almost done, and I'm doing the live demo number 2. I will use again Tableau, and I will implement it with the unified star schema data set that I've prepared. So I open Tableau again, and this time I go, sorry, it was not that one. And this time I go to open the other folder, which I've prepared, which is the one Northwind USS. So what will be the life of a IKEA user if they're using this approach? It's quite easy because you always start with the bridge, with the Puppini Bridge, right? So you always start with that. And then you need a keyboard, you need a printer, you just get what you need and you connect it. So let's remember how it was. We wanted the order details. Okay, you double click, and then Tableau says key order details, key order details. And then you want the categories, double click, and then Tableau says key categories, key categories. Do you remember that we had a problem earlier because the categories and the order details, they needed to connect through products? I don't need that anymore. Product is here. I don't even put it in my query. I don't need it. And then we wanted orders. I double click, and Tableau says, okay, key orders, easy. And then what did I want? I wanted the shippers. I double click and I go, guess what? Key shippers, key shippers. So why is it like that? Of course, let me spend a minute on this because it's very important. This is the part, this bridge is the one that requires an engineer to be done. This is not self-service. So imagine you have a company, you say, okay, let's go for a simplified project. Let's call this crazy Italian who will make us the IKEA of data modeling. Okay, fine. So I go there, I spend there a week, 3 weeks, it doesn't matter. I spend the time that is needed. I build this bridge table, and then I go away. I go away. I don't want to go to the office every morning. Many people know that. And stay there from 9 to 5. I don't want to do that. I think that we are all better than this. We are all better than going to the office, connecting product ID with product ID. There are challenges today. We have global warming, we have a virus, and many of these challenges, they can be solved with data. And the world needs data engineers who use their brain. I am tired of going to the office and connecting product ID with product ID. So the engineer will go away, and then whenever new data comes to some new data sources and so on, I go there for another week and I will implement the new pieces which have been added, and then I go away again. So you don't need anymore the pretty woman operator who is standing in the lift and pressing a button for you. You don't need anymore the operator who is connecting to cables. We are all better than that, okay? So yeah, now that we have done this, we can also say, yeah, you know what, by the way that I'm here, I'm also adding the countries, and because I might need it later, so I already load it, and so then it's done. And then I'm adding the customers, why not? So you just add whatever you think that you will need in the future, and then it's done. So then you go to your sheet, and then you say, exactly as you did before, okay, you can hide the bridge because it's a technical table which is no longer needed. But then as you did before, you put the category name, you can put the order detail quantity, and then you can put the date, which was here, and this is our report. Okay, and then I can play around, of course. This is the feature of Tableau that make us feel smart, so we can press all the buttons. And this is Tableau, and Tableau is great. You just press buttons and you see some colors, and you think it's cool because it's a lot of colors. So you play around with that. But what matters is that the numbers here are correct, and you didn't need a telephone operator or lift operator to press a button for you. And let me do also the second one. So we wanted to see what was it? It was the shipper company name, and it was the freight. So the freight is somewhere in orders. It's here, and then it was the day. Here we go. So this is the way, this is the speed how a business manager, a business person in general can make reports. And this is Tableau, nothing done by me here. But my small added value or attempt to do something good is that connecting the pieces is now much easier. So we are almost done, and the very first few seconds more. So this is the unified star schema with Tableau, and you can do it with ClickView, with ClickSense, with Power BI, with TIBCO Spotfire, with SizeSense. You can do it with all the business intelligence tools. So my conclusion is that the unified star schema is easy to use. It acts as a foundation for all the present and future business requirements. In some cases, they are already satisfied by the structure. In other cases, you will need to add some more coding, but it's a foundation. It's a foundation of a building. And then it is a star schema. So for this reason, it is adaptable to every existing architecture and technology that supports the star schema, which to my knowledge, it's almost all of them. I hope that I was boring, but not too boring.